Good morning, everyone. This is your favorite radio host, Corinne Lafont of Between the Lines. And I'm saying good morning, but the listeners and those who will be listening to this may be in different parts of the world. And so it may be good night, it may be good evening, it may be whatever time of day. But I appreciate all of you and especially my guest today, Paul Reed. I'm going to share a bit about Paul in a while. But what we're talking about today is breaking free of personal blocks and limiting beliefs. I'm very passionate about this topic. It's one of the topics I'm very passionate about. And I do believe, and Paul, I'm sure, is going to agree with me on this. There are a lot of people walking around, I mean, including ourselves, that have been blocking our success, blocking what we want to achieve, our goals, our dreams, relationships, whatever it is. We're just blocking what is meant to come to us, right? And we tend to blame other people, obviously everything external to ourselves for where we are, but really the enemy is within, like how Les says, the enemy is within. You're your own worst enemy. They didn't come up with that for nothing. So I'm going to be sharing a bit with Paul. I'm going to delve quickly into the topic about breaking free of all those blocks, challenges, and the limiting beliefs. So let me share a bit about Paul, and then I'm going to be showing his website, and he's going to talk to you about his free giveaway, his free ebook. I'm going to profile all that visually for you, even though you're not seeing anything just yet. Don't worry about it. I'm going to profile all that. But let me share a bit about Paul with you. So Paul is a lifelong entrepreneur like myself and personal breakthrough coach. After several decades in sales, a random meeting with an NLP master trainer, and he'll tell you what NLP is, changed a part of his life. The series of changes that took place afterward motivated Paul to become certified in the same NLP and launch his coaching practice. Now, Paul helps entrepreneurs and business leaders overcome personal blocks and limiting beliefs so they can reach their vision. He used these techniques in his own life to grow his network marketing company to over 1,000 active members and growing. Now, Paul has some things in common with myself. Been in network marketing, several of them, so I'm quite familiar and I believe in the industry. So, Paul, welcome to Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne. I'm so excited to be here today. Appreciate the
Oh,
invitation.
it's not a problem having you, and we have some things in common. You know, network
Yes.
marketing, this whole idea about breaking free, you know, being our own worst enemy. You know, it's just a number of things that we need to touch on this morning and share with our listening audience and those who will be listening to the show. We just started 2018, basically.
hmm
I mean, we're in
hmm
February, almost at the end of February. We still have time. We still have time. You know, you can make changes now because the important thing, like I say to people, is it makes no sense bantering and quarreling and fussing and fretting over the past. You have the opportunity right now that you can make a change, and everything from now on can change because of a change in mindset and a decision, most importantly, that you have taken today. Forget the last minute, second, whatever, yesterday, last year. It's now. Focus on the present. So Paul, before you go into it, I want to find out a bit of history about you because everything started for you when things were not going in the direction that you wanted things to go, that it should have gone. And I want people to really understand where you came from, what made that change. Share a bit about that, and why you believe in this. Let's call it the law of attraction because that's really what it is, the law of attraction.
hmm
And why is it working for you, and how are you practicing it? There's a number of things I'm saying, but I'm sure you're getting the gist of it. So
Yeah, I
it's
is. I
over to you.
is. And Corinne, a lot of people have, everyone has a journey. Everyone has foundational events, whether major or even minor, that can shape the course of their lives, correct?
Yeah.
And for me, it was a simple meeting when I was 14 years old. I was going to a Boy Scout meeting. A friend of mine had invited me from school. I always heard about his camping trips and the things and activities that he did. So when he invited me to a meeting, I went. Okay, we show up at the event, and I knew some of the other boys there in the Boy Scout meeting. And, and then we were brought into the area for that week's lesson. And there was boys in there who were older, they were in their uniforms, they were, shaving, they were confident, they were in charge of their world, and they went through that lesson at that time. And I think it was on knot tying or something like that, and in that moment, a casual thought went through my head that I said to myself, and it was, I'll never get to that point. Never thought about it again. Never thought about it again. And what that did was set a foundational process in my unconscious mind that I could not reach those heights. I could not succeed to higher levels. And Corinne, did you know that single moment affected my life for 38 years hence?
Oh, Christ.
So can you imagine that one little limiting belief that I had set for myself of shaping my own reflection of who I was going to keep me in mediocrity for almost 4 decades?
But I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there temporarily. You are saying that no, because you have looked back. But at the moment you said it, 38, 40 something years ago, right?
Right.
You didn't think it was a limiting belief.
Nope.
You didn't think it was a limiting belief. And nope. You're looking at it now. And how did you realize or become aware or conscious that was the moment in time? It was like you went back in a time capsule.
Exactly.
And you realized that was the moment you changed your destiny.
Exactly. And it was in that random meeting you described in my bio where I ran across my mentor, Steve, who, not to go into a long story, but a random, just completely coincidental group of events on his side and my side brought us together. And we got to talking, and he needed some help in something I could help him with. And I needed some help because I had never heard of coaching, and I'd certainly never heard of NLP. But through the following months, he coached me and helped me realize some of the most foundational events that were in my life. And they don't necessarily have to be traumatic. They can just be a simple mindset shift that happens in a random Boy Scout meeting that can change the course of your life, like it did for me. Now, I've had a good life. I've made money. I've had a successful career in sales, but I always felt like I had this incredible, amazing potential, Corinne, that was just stellar. I just felt that inside me. Always did, but I never could figure out why I couldn't launch.
I want to stop you there. Stop right there. You see, as you say things, I'm going to stop you, Paul, because you're talking to me. You're talking to me, and I could relate to that. Over the years, because I've been in sales, still in sales, because you're always selling something, right? So
right.
I have looked at my life, and I said, there's always more. There's something more out there. I know
exactly.
I know there is. And I'm having this conversation with myself. There's a seed planted in you, Paul, that is so big that wants to grow into a damn oak tree. Firm.
Amazing.
Listen to me. You feel it, you know it, you see it. But somehow things around you are like the environment you're in, the people that you're around, the people that you're talking to are just holding you. And you're like, why am I not moving forward? And you're having this internal dialogue. Why am I not moving forward? And I want to hit on the point where you met with your NLP mentor. Yeah. And NLP, for persons who don't know, is neuro-linguistic programming. And
correct.
And when you met them, I want to put this point to you. I believe I'm listening to your story. And you made that limiting belief statement in Boy Scout days. How old were you then?
14.
14. Okay. 14, at age 14. And I'm sure there were other things you would have said prior to 14 or additional things that you said at age 14 to compound
Sure.
that statement. But here's what happened. The universe realized that you were limiting yourself and said, hell no. Paul, guys in the universe, we know Paul is meant to be bigger than this. We got to do something. We got to do something. And so we put things in place for him to randomly meet the NLP mentor. I swear, that is how the universe works. They sit down.
Exactly.
I call it they because it's more than one. It's more than one of them over there. And they're like looking at you, Steve, Paul, and they're saying, look here. We are watching Paul, and we see him going down a path he's not meant to be. We got to do something. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make him randomly meet his NLP mentor. And that is going to make him hear something, know something that will help him get back on the right course. So things don't happen. When people say it's a coincidence, there are no coincidences, Paul. There are no coincidences. Things happen for a reason to put you back on track, but people miss that. People miss it, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And I want you to talk about that meeting that you had, how it changed the course of your life in that the same split second or moments that you spent putting that limiting belief. Look what it took, just a few seconds, just a few minutes to put you back on track.
Exactly. And I was having a meeting presenting my network marketing company. Had it every Wednesday night at the same restaurant in the back room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the night Steve had decided to meet a client back there. He didn't realize the room was taken. Now, I always had people show up at my meetings. Always. Had never had zero. Sometimes one or two, but I had never had zero. And that week, I had zero.
Oh, my. The story's getting bigger by the minute.
So I had zero that week. And Steve's client did not show up.
You see what I'm saying, Paul?
So everything moved. All the energy in the universe moved together at that moment.
That's what I'm saying.
For two people, each having a need that the other could fill.
Oh my God!
Just on the surface, and then we went deeper. So over the following months, I helped Steve in his marketing, and Steve helped me in my personal growth and development. And through those sessions, we uncovered limiting belief, negative emotions that I had to overcome, fear, shame, guilt, sadness, anger.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And through those techniques, I was so moved, Corinne, about what shifts were happening in my own life. I had to share that with passion with others.
Wow.
And so Steve is the only master NLP trainer within 500 miles of my location.
Oh my God. What?
There's not another one. And so when you're talking about that movement, that shift, that mindset, earthquake that happened.
Yeah.
And I realized that my life is my fault.
Of course. You can't you can't blame me, Paul.
No. And thoughts become things.
Yes.
And that's the entirety of the basis of the law of attraction. I first heard that from Earl Nightingale and an old vinyl album from the 50s.
Oh yes.
You become what you think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
as a man
so is he. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so as those mindset shifts happened, and I changed my thoughts, I changed my attitude, and I changed my results. And those things can be those things can be learned, Corinne. Those lessons can be shifted.
Yes.
Those internal dialogues can be brought anew so that someone can change their outcomes.
Yes. But you know, people don't believe. There are some people who don't believe in these things and don't realize. You know, they're like, I just need to think it. I just need to think it. You know, I think of a lot of things, and some of those things don't happen. What is the
Yeah.
power behind this? What is the power then? Because people are just so casual about it and blasé about it when you tell them. They look
Yeah.
at you and you're like, you're either crazy or spooky or something, and you're telling them all
Well,
you need to do is think it.
no, no, it's thoughts plus action.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can go through an exercise right now, Corinne, and I can create an amazing internal state for your audience
Mm-hmm.
because they can identify, because we're human.
Mm-hmm.
And let me go through this exercise real quick. And this is
Yeah.
called the unconscious hello.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're on a city block and you've got about 10 blocks to walk in a straight line.
Right.
There are people coming, passing you up. There are people coming towards you. Off in the distance, about 3 blocks down, you catch the glimpse of someone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You catch that person, you see them for just a fleeting moment, and it reminds you of somebody that you've known from your past that you loved, had great passion for, had great friendships with, had amazing experiences with, and you thought of that person and those times. Can you got that in your mind?
Of course.
And they're coming towards you, and you go, oh man, I remember that person. We'll just call him Pat. Pat and I had great times in high school when we were younger and teenagers. We had so much fun. We had the world by the tail. What an amazing time that was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're on your journey towards your destination, and you're getting closer, and all of a sudden you see that person again and they're 2 blocks away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a different city, a different state. It couldn't possibly be Pat. Couldn't possibly be. But you think again, and then emotion is welling up inside you, and you're thinking, oh, what a beautiful thing it would be to see Pat from my past and all of those wonderful times that I had, you know. And if for you, that's a lost love,
Mm-hmm.
a crush, a great mentor, a great teacher, a grandparent, a friend, whatever it was, that it's so unlikely that that person could be in your presence. And as you come closer, you're waiting and not pay attention, and all of a sudden you look up and it's Pat.
That has happened several times, Paul.
Think about how you feel right now if you can close your eyes and imagine running into that amazing friend and those amazing times and all of that manifested from within.
Yeah. You know what we
Now,
say? You know what we say when that happened? I was just thinking about you.
exactly.
That's amazing. I just
But
thought about you. Or the phone rings. It might not even be walking on the road. It could be a phone ring, or the person, or something that becomes
exactly.
presence. Yeah.
But think about how you feel, audience, right now
Yeah.
when you've thought about meeting your Pat.
Yeah.
Am I in control of that feeling for you? No,
No.
you are.
No.
Do you have the ability at any moment to manifest that great emotion, that great movement within yourself?
Of course.
Of course. Then do you have the ability to change the course of your life through changing your internal state?
Oh, yes, you can in a blink.
In a blink. And
Yeah.
so you are in charge of your state,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore you are in charge of your results.
Yeah. 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 I am currently reading The Power of the Subconscious Mind, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
A book that has been on my list to read for the longest while, and I'm reading it now. And let me tell you, when I'm reading that book, I can't sleep. I am like I can't sleep, and I tend to read it in the night. So I am like, oh my God. And it takes me, I wouldn't want to say forever, but because I have to reread every sentence and process, and I'm like, oh my God, I can relate to this. This is making sense. And because I know about all these things from before, and he's just confirming and putting it into a different context and using different examples and to illustrate his point. I'm like, he mentioned, and I copied some of the stuff, the statements, excerpts from it, and put it on my Facebook last night. I was up until about 2 this morning. And I remember one of his quotes saying, something like, once you have put a thought in your mind, the universe is going to move heaven and earth to make it come to reality. Heaven and earth.
And you must take action.
Yeah.
Because thoughts plus action create results. If you take no action, you'll have no results.
Yeah. So that emotion back in it, that energizing, excitement that wells up in you. Some people get these ideas to do things, Paul. Business ideas, collaboration ideas, go out ideas, do whatever ideas. And they're like, oh my God, I feel so good. I would love to go to the beach right now. I would love to do this. And then they don't act on it. You have this exciting feeling to do this business. You can see it. You can feel it. It energizes you. It makes you super excited. And then you're like, nah, that's not going to work. I know Paul did that and it didn't work for him. And, I'm going to discuss it with Sharon. And then Sharon throws cold water on it. Yeah,
because Sharon's living in the same misery that you are, and she doesn't want you to succeed because it will disprove, it will invalidate Sharon's life.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to be better, you have to be different.
Yeah.
If you want to move, you must move. If you want to change, all learning is unconscious.
Yes.
And so you must create the conscious, unconscious connection. Control your unconscious mind. Give it direction. And that's what NLP is all about, is the communication that goes on inside your internal mind. And in order to change your outcomes, you must change your thinking.
Yes.
And so your history does not matter. It's not that you don't validate where you come from, but that doesn't have to be where you end up.
Exactly. Your current situation doesn't determine where you end up. That's right. And you can make the change, but you have to be willing to do so. But you mentioned fears, Paul. You mentioned fears. Fears is one thing that holds a lot of people back. People are afraid of success. People are afraid of actually living the life of their dreams.
Yep, exactly. Because they don't understand, or they would rather have the devil they know than the devil that they don't.
Wow.
Because I know how to operate in my world of fear. I know how to operate in my world of lack. I understand how the process of hurt, of pain, of sadness, of anger works. I don't know how to operate in abundance.
Yeah.
And it must begin from changing your internal state.
So how do they start perceiving, visualizing themselves in a state of abundance, for them to feel it, acknowledge it, accept it?
In everything that you do, manifest greatness within yourself. That exercise we just did where we met Pat, Unconscious Hello.
Yeah.
Where you got that great feeling inside. I want everyone in your audience to do an exercise, and I challenge you to have a negative outcome here, because it will not happen. I want you to think about when you walk through every threshold of a door, bam.
Yeah.
I want to think about Pat. When I meet every new person today, I want to internally manifest those great feelings before I actually say a word. Because when you have that inside of you, others will connect to that.
Yeah.
They'll be gravitated to it, and you will produce great outcomes for that. When somebody says how you're doing, you go, I'm okay. I am amazing.
Exactly.
I am so fantastic. If it were any better, I'd spontaneously combust, Corinne.
Hello, I tell people, do you know what I do when I walk out, or even when people ask me normally here, how are you? I'm fabulous. And I don't just say I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous. And they look at me like their eyes wide open, and they're like, wow, isn't that awesome? I'm glad you're fabulous. And they're like, wow, that made me smile. That was the point. I didn't do it just for me, but I did it for you so that I infect you with my fabulousness. And when I say I'm fabulous, it's not only a matter of a mood, it's because I accept me for me. I am fabulous. I am a fabulous woman. I'm a fabulous person, but I also feel fabulous, you know?
Exactly.
And so
I
I
mean,
give that out.
your body is the vehicle that you get to ride around in life with.
I like how you say that. It's the vehicle that you get to ride around in. I never thought about it like that.
You can't ride in anyone else's vehicle. You only get yours.
Oh yeah. You can't
You
trade it in,
know,
right? You can't trade it in.
you can't, you can improve it to whatever level it's going to improve, but the vehicle is just the vehicle. It can pick up things, it can move
Yeah.
things, it can write things, it can share things, but it's what you decide to do with it
Yeah. Yeah.
that makes a life.
We need to let out some people out of that vehicle, Paul. We need to put out some people out of that vehicle.
And
Because
so make those, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, exactly. And to people want change, but they've got to break through fear.
yeah.
And fear is one thing, but anger is another.
Oh wow.
Anger is, most people think love is the most powerful emotion. Anger is the most powerful
It's
emotion.
destructive, Paul. How could somebody harbor anger? Tell me, how is that, how does that serve you? Really? I need to understand.
Exactly. And your immediate reaction of anger is part of your DNA as far as your flight or fight response.
Mm-hmm.
But what you do after that is your choice.
Mm.
And that's a concept a lot of people can't get, because anger is actually a very stimulating emotion. Anger can give you a sense of purpose because it's so stimulating.
Really?
It actually can. And because anger, you know, I'm mad, and so that's my identity. I'm mad that this didn't happen, or I didn't get this thing, or I didn't get this gift, or I didn't get this opportunity, or I wasn't this thin, or I wasn't this pretty, or I wasn't this tall, or my teeth weren't perfect, and I'm mad about that.
So how does that serve you? What I'm
It
thinking.
doesn't serve you. Beyond the flight or fight response,
Mhm.
it doesn't serve you.
So why keep it? Why have it around as a friend, your best buddy, riding around in your vehicle?
Because it's a stimulant emotion, and it stimulates. It's just like crack. It's just like alcohol. It's just like drugs, cocaine. It kicks in those endorphins
Hmm.
that give you a little bit of heroin in your brain.
Yeah, but I
You
prefer
get a little
love.
dopamine every time you get a little bit of anger. Because anger in and of itself creates.
Yeah, but I prefer love. I find that much more stimulating. I prefer joy, fun, excitement. I'm highly stimulated
Exactly.
by that. I want endorphins. I want to get on a high having fun. I want to be laughing all day,
Absolutely.
all in my sleep. I wake up smiling. Why should I be waking up angry, quarreling, shrouded? I'm like, what is going on here? There are some people, Paul, that you're talking to, and you would say a simple thing to them, and they start getting defensive and quarreling. Or you text them, or you email them, and the response you get, you're like, what? Where did all that come from? Right? What is going
Exactly.
on? What is going on with people, and how can they? We're talking about blockages and limiting beliefs. And then when you come
Right.
across a calm persona, they're like, you're too casual. While they are like
Yeah.
hyper.
Yeah. Because my personal well-being comes from my internal state that I chose.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've changed my internal state, I am changing my outcomes. And I don't choose anger because anger does not serve me.
So it's
And, let's talk about love for a second.
mm-hmm.
Anger is an emotion. Love is not a feeling. Love is a behavior.
Is it? I need you to come with that again, Paul. What you said? Repeat that.
Love is not a feeling. Love is a behavior.
Explain that.
Because I may have internal feelings for my wife,
Mm-hmm.
whom I love, but she can't feel that from me. She can only know how I act towards her.
Mm-hmm.
How I behave towards another person is how you love them.
Mm. So when people say their words don't follow their actions and vice versa, that's
Hmm.
that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Mm.
And if you want to know how I feel, it's how I act towards you. It's how your spouse or your friend acts towards you. I mean, I came this morning to the soup kitchen. I come 2 or 3 times a month to do food prep,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I love the guests
Mm-hmm.
there. There's 60 people in there getting breakfast, and I was working on helping prepare some lunch. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my behavior is an act of love
Yeah. But
because I have a skill set in this area and I want to love them in a way that communicates that.
like you were saying, your body that you're riding around in is a vehicle. So obviously
Hmm.
you manifest that love from inside of you through um, uh, uh, an action that we carry out
Yes,
that vehicle. But the love resides in you. If you didn't have love within you, it couldn't come out of you.
right. And
It
how is
couldn't
that
come
love
out.
manifested towards
Mm-hmm.
those other people? And for this case, it's my cooking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I often say cooking is love.
Of course, you got to sprinkle some in there. Of
You
course.
gotta sprinkle some in there, and people will feel your energy.
Yeah, yeah.
But how I share and how I act towards you
Mm-hmm.
is how you experience love from me.
And
So,
you mentioned food. You
mhm,
would prepare a meal, and somebody else would prepare the same meal, exact thing, same, everything. They were with looks on the plate and all of that. And somebody would taste yours and somebody would taste the other person's own. And they can tell that yours was cooked with love.
yep,
There's just, they like their eyes closed. I can see it, like their eyes are closed and they're like, oh my God, this was done with love. Not that the other one wasn't done with it really, but you can just feel the passion, feel
exactly.
this whatever, and you don't actually see the love sprinkle in the food, but you can but
Amazing.
yeah, so that energy came out from what you did into the preparation, into the meal, that persons can say yes. And probably this is why people gravitate towards certain individuals. People gravitate, as we talk about food, to certain restaurants. People gravitate towards certain chefs. People gravitate towards certain events. Certain bookstores that they can sit down, because when they go to that bookstore, they feel a different ambience when they go there. So when people are spending their money in terms of business, you are in business, I'm in business. It's why do they come to us? It's because of that connection that they feel. They
Exactly.
come to you versus going to somebody else. And they can't, when you ask them, why did you come to me? Sometimes they can't explain.
Hmm.
They can't
Hmm.
explain why they're coming to you. They just know that they feel better here. Everything is based on
Yeah,
a feeling. Yeah.
exactly. And
Mm.
I've worked with executives and business owners and entrepreneurs, restaurant owners especially.
Mhm.
If store owners, I recently worked
Mhm.
with Academy Sports.
Right.
They're young store managers. They're trying to promote within, and I worked with a group of store managers to help them change their internal state
Mhm.
so that they brought that energy with them,
Mhm.
connected with the employees. So when they set the bar of how we're going to interact with our customers
Mhm.
and how we're going to transmit that energy, that internal state, then our customers are attracted to the people that are there. Because I can look at a line of people when I'm at the grocery store, and I'll pick up on people's energy, and I'll know whose line I want to get into, and I'll definitely know whose line I don't want to get into.
Exactly.
And that same thing transmit to business. I mean, that one major personal interaction needs to be an amazing, beautiful experience based on the internal state of
Mhm.
someone in that checkout line. So in business, these are critical skills to be able to learn, and they have to come from the top down. If you're going to have an uncomfortable conversation with an employee and your internal state is beautiful because you're trying to create a sense of we're going to set a higher bar,
Mhm.
when you're having that conversation with an employee who isn't performing like they should,
Mhm.
it's not personal. It
Mhm.
is, this is the bar, and I need you to do everything you can do to meet that. If you cannot, then you need to find a place to work where the bar is where you naturally gravitate to.
Yeah.
And I wish you awesome results in your life,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And this may not be the perfect thing. It's not,
Yeah.
but people don't understand that they're in charge of their state,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
therefore they should be able to meet the bar. But that communication should be clearly said. We do this, we smile,
Yeah.
we work on our internal state,
Mhm.
we think about that, we think about that communication, that unconscious communication with our customers, our clients,
Mhm. Mhm. But like you said, there are
so that
people
they
who,
understand that.
yeah, but there are people who still have such limiting beliefs. They don't see themselves in a state of abundance. So you're in a work environment and the supervisor, boss, manager says, hey, our sales are down. We need to reach up to this level. We all need to chip in, do our part. Everybody's going to be doing this now. We're trying this new approach. And there are some people immediately upon saying that, like, what? Work harder, put in more time, try this, try that. No, I can't. And they started the limiting beliefs, as Bob Proctor says, those paradigms set in. Those
Hmm.
paradigms come in.
But
Where are you going with that? Are you crazy? That is not going to happen.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. And you know why? Because that person lives in a state of fear.
Yeah, yeah.
And if things have to come from the top, of course, but if you're going to say no to excellence, what result are you going to get?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I talked, when I was in the restaurant business, I would tell employees, you want to make $1 million? Well, yeah, I want to make $1 million. Then
Mhm.
act like a person who makes $1 million.
Exactly, exactly.
Because a person who makes minimum wage and thinks minimum wage thinking, guess what?
Yeah,
That's what they're going to attract into their life.
yeah, yeah. Hmm. But you
Because
you
you
you're
can't
asking
have a
you're asking
you
me to jump from minimum
yeah.
wage, Paul, to a millionaire. How do I just make that quantum leap?
Well, it first starts with an attitude change, and then it is a systematic change in behavior where you align yourself with opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the difference in batting averages for the baseball players you never heard of and the
Mm-hmm.
superstars is not 100% more.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
5%.
Yeah.
5% is the extra amount that's required for excellence. It's not double. And so if I see an employee who comes in, and you love seeing that person come in because they have a great attitude, and you know they work a little bit faster, they work with a determination, a quickness, even in the most mundane tasks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in my restaurant days, I was in charge of dishwashers. And I
Mm-hmm.
had this one dishwasher, he worked like a dog. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he just worked, and he always had a great attitude, and he had a wonderful smile, and you know, he said, "I'm going to make it one day, and I'm going to, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to act like I'm at the top."
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cooks came to me and said, "You know, Michael over here makes 50 cents an hour more than me."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Well, you know, it's unfortunate he shared that." He said, "Well, I want to wash dishes so I can make 50% more."
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great teachable moment for that young man when I said, Michael doesn't make 50% more or 50 cents an hour more
Mm-hmm.
because he's a dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Michael makes 50 cents an hour more because of what he produces.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot of mind shifting. It's a lot of thinking. And if I want to move from minimum wage to a millionaire, because we all want it. If you walk up to anybody on the road and you say, "Would you like $1 million?" Sure. And they put their hand out and they expect to get it, kapow, you know, without doing anything. But from the time you tell them to do something, it's like, "Oh, what? I have to do something to get it." And this is why people may become rich overnight, but they don't keep it. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
points. That's one of the points I want to make. Another point
Right.
I want to make too is that it may be difficult for persons to move from minimum wage thinking to the abundance type thinking of a millionaire or multimillionaire.
Well,
But they
let's
can move
change
in,
that.
they can move in phases. You can become $100 person. You can become a $1,000 person. You can become a $10,000 person.
Exactly.
So you move it in stages until you realize, okay, if I did 100 or 1,000, I can do 10,000. If I do 10,000, I can do 15. If I do 20, then I can do 100. You know,
Exactly.
so you move
Exactly.
your mind in phases as opposed to making that quantum leap from the minimum wage to a millionaire, because that might seem impossible to you, but do it in the thousand stages until
Well, let's
yeah,
let's talk about some quick free resources that your audience may have, because you may have a listener who is a minimum wage worker
that's
or
right.
they're stuck in a job. So
That's right.
you become the average of the 5 people that you are around the most.
That's for sure.
Okay. And so change who you're around. Okay. Everyone knows about meetup.com, right?
Yeah.
Your audience may not. There's a website out there called meetup.com,
Hmm.
and they have meetings that are free where you go and where like-minded people gather and talk about whatever that subject is. If you're into bootstrapping, entrepreneurship, um, mindset shifts, higher level thinking, personal development, there are meetups out there
Yes.
that you can go connect with people who are in the process, like you are, of shifting
Hmm.
into a higher plane, a higher level. The other thing you can do very quickly and cheaply is instead of playing Candy Crush
Oh my
or, or
God.
or watching Real Housewives
Oh my God. Talk it, Paul. Speak.
or any of those things that are time consuming, I mean, they produce nothing.
Nothing. Zilch.
Okay. Listen to uplifting, amazing podcasts.
Yes.
Go to the iTunes store and follow Corinne, follow Tony Robbins, follow Bob Proctor, follow Tim
Oh,
Ferriss,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
follow um,
Michael
whoever
Jackson.
it is.
Let's
My
go.
yes,
Yeah,
all you know, Tony Evans, you know, all of those.
yeah,
So fill your brain on a constant basis
yeah,
of new ideas
yeah,
that are not your own, because I promise you,
yeah.
when you live in a mindset of abundance, abundance has no choice but to follow.
Oh, yeah. Say it again, Paul. Say it again.
When you live when you live in a mindset of abundance, abundance has no choice but
But
to follow.
the universe will move heaven and earth to bring it to reality. I am telling you. I say to people, I said, I don't watch TV and I don't listen to the news and I don't read the newspaper. It might sound bad. There are times I will go through it, but I choose what I go through and look at, or,
Right.
or go through the newspaper or what. But my life is not filled with negativity. The media is one of the most destructive things that perpetuates your mind. And you know how I prove it too, Paul? When I walk around and
How?
I hear people helping to give oxygen to the things that are being discussed on TV and on radio, and that's all they consume themselves with, quarreling
I
and
know it.
helping the media to propagate the things that they're saying. And I'm like, look at these zombies. Look at these walking dead. Don't they realize what they're doing to themselves? And they
Yep.
do it all day, all night. They wake up in the morning with it. They go to bed with it at night. They wake up in the morning with it. They talk about it all day. They go to bed. And they want to pull me into it. And I'm like, hell no, I am not discussing that. I don't know about
Nope.
that. Nope. I stop them at the door. I'm like, hell no, I don't want to hear it. Is it something positive? No, I don't want to hear it. Is it right? Is it
Exactly.
something negative? I mean, I'm like, no, I decide what I consume. In the same way, home, your health is supposed to be important to you, and you watch what you eat and all of that. You must watch what you put in your mind, which is the most important thing. Watch what you put
Exactly.
in your mind. Oh my God. And people will say to me, but Corinne, you're living in a bubble. You don't know what's going on. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
I don't need to know what's going on. You know, it's the same thing. I can turn on the news for 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
yeah.
And I go, yep, it hadn't changed a bit. Am I right?
Exactly. Right?
You know, I
People will
mean,
say, but you don't know if a storm is coming. I say, I'll know. Somebody will tell me. Don't worry about it. Right? I'm like, what? What is it? I don't need to be on the trails of all the negativity that's going on and be a part of that discussion, a part of that environment. I choose not to be. And because of that, Paul, I am such a happier person for years. I have freed myself. When I look at the Matrix and I tell people the Matrix is a movie about this whole separating yourself from
hmm
from the whole, as I say, hardwired type of thinking. Remove yourself from that and you will be able to see what you have been brainwashed to believe.
exactly.
It's a whole lot of brainwashing to keep you in a particular state that you cannot move from there. My
And that's the whole system is designed to validate that low place that you're at.
yes,
It doesn't promote excellence.
my word, my word. I mean, even this simple thing as Dory. I was watching for the first time. I watched Finding Nemo some years ago and loved that movie. But I said, I found
hmm
Finding Dory. And when I looked at that, I looked at it twice. I said, this movie is spectacular. Dory forgets a lot of things, but her memory for something triggers her and she remembers something and she will not forget it like that. Or she might forget it right now and it comes back. So it's like sometimes it's best to forget.
Yep.
Sometimes it's best to forget. And only the things you need to know will come to you because she
Yeah.
was fearless. Marlin knew everything. He doesn't forget, but he's scared. He's scared. The
Yeah.
coral,
Look back over your life
yeah.
and think about how much you worried.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How did worry change the outcome?
Oh my God. Not for the better, I could tell you that.
No, it doesn't.
Not for the
And it's a very difficult struggle. Is people stress themselves into states of disease
Yeah.
and autoimmune disorders on stuff they can't control.
Oh
So
my.
these mindset shifts, these possibilities of being in control of your thoughts,
Yeah. Yeah.
will in the end control your outcomes.
Yeah. I love that. And that is a great segue into your book and coaching. And I've been profiling your website while you were talking, showing the online courses, workshops, etc. I switched over to your page, with your wife, your
Hmm.
beautiful wife there. And of course, people can contact you
Yep.
and read up on your blogs. But I want to switch over now to your free coaching, which is what you're going to be giving away.
Right.
Yeah, if you have it's a new year, obviously 2018, people you still have time, like I was saying before. It's never too late. The time is now. So he has 3 steps to everything within your grant. Just 3. How hard is that, Paul?
It is very simple. And
Okay.
I want to offer everyone that's listening a copy of that book.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've you've submitted your name and email, you'll get another offer
Mm-hmm.
to a free 30-minute coaching session. And what we're going to create in that in that 30-minute free coaching session is 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to identify your big vision for your life.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, we're going to to figure out what the biggest challenge is that's keeping you from it.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, we're going to create an action plan that moves you towards that vision.
You can't get better than that. It's basically a plan for your life.
Exactly.
It's basically
So
a
I look forward to working with everyone, and read the ebook. It's only 9 pages,
wow,
but
it's so much. Oh my God, Paul, all of 9 pages?
yeah.
All of 9 pages? My God.
Yeah, and the whole book comes from a quote I heard on a podcast from Terry Crews. He was on that show Everybody Hates Chris.
Ah,
He's the one in that right guard commercial, flexing his pecs. He's a pro football player. You know what I'm talking about?
yes.
He said, everything within your grasp
Yes.
is not supposed to be in your hand.
Yes. Wow, that'll be too easy, right?
Exactly.
That'll be too easy. But
So
everybody
pick
wants the
what
easy
serves you.
way. Everybody wants the easy way. Hmm.
Yeah.
My God,
So
Paul.
let's find out what that big vision is. Let's get rid of the limiting beliefs and blocks that are keeping you from it, and
Yeah.
let's create an action plan to move you towards it.
And what I know, I can see it already. When people discover what it is that's holding them back, it would be like a aha moment, a light bulb moment for them. They wouldn't believe, you know, just because I said that, that is why my life is the way it is. I mean,
Mm,
it is such a rewarding experience when you help people to discover, something that they did, said, thought that has really been holding them back and they have now realized that they can make the change. It is
exactly.
such a releasing, it is such a release to you, to your system, to your spirit, to your mind. You feel free. You feel free. And in talking to you, Paul, I want people to get that there's a freedom more than it's like you've been in prison all this time and you're imprisoning yourself. And as I mentioned that, there is a story or something about this guy, and I'm sure you know it. you know he was in a prison, but the key was right there. I mean, he can get out at any time. He can get out
Hmm.
at any time. Nobody locked him up in there. He just imprisoned himself. It's not like he put himself there, but in his mind, he's his own prisoner. And so we need
Right.
to release ourselves. We need to be free. And life is so short, Paul. Life is so short. We deserve
All
better.
you have is now.
Yeah, yeah.
All you have is now.
We
How
do.
are you going to change your now
Yeah, yeah,
to create the future you want?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a great way on ending the show. How are you going to change now to create the future that you want? And now means right now, this second. Thank you so much, Paul. I mean, we have spent a wonderful time together. You know, I enjoyed it. The conversation was flowing, beautiful. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the life you have lived because you had to live that life in order for you to have a better one now and to appreciate what you went through.
Exactly.
You had to. You had to. We all have stories to tell, and your story is one that really resonated with me. And I mean, similar story on my end. You know, we can
Hmm.
we can compare notes at another time, but similar. Yeah, yeah, similar story. You know, but it's great to meet people of like mind and you know, persons who can relate and say, hey, what you're going through is nothing compared to what I've been through, and if I made it, you can too, you know. And so there is hope. There is hope. I want people to know that there is hope. People are losing hope out there for whatever reason because they're watching too much damn TV, too much
Hmm.
damn TV, right? And radio and the newspaper. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? Stop
There
it
you go.
and decide what you want to pour into your mind and who you want to hang with, who you want to associate with, because just as Paul said, you're the average of the 5 people you will hang with. If you want to see what your life is looking at, look at the people in your life, look at the job you're in, look at the house, look at where you are in the moment. It is a true reflection of the thoughts that's in your mind.
Yep.
It is a true reflection. You don't have to look elsewhere. Just look right around you and it is a reflection of what you're thinking. Paul, thank you so much for being here on Between the Lines. I
Awesome,
wish,
Corinne.
yeah, I wish you all the best. Let's keep in touch. And I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful life, and continue on your path of letting go of those limiting beliefs and blockages.
Thank you, Corinne.